Right then, hello everybody, good evening and welcome along to round 15 here, the GPVWC Supercup 2013 season. We are here at Indianapolis. It's infamous for many reasons in Formula One, and I'm pretty sure the Supercup driver here today is going to be infamous once again. We have rain here in qualifying, wet tyres are on. My name is James Kirk, and joining me along for probably this roller coaster of a ride, as I can see Ranieri wow, he's just slipping already. This should be fun, Lewis McGlade.
It should be, James Kirk. But no, Giuseppe Ranieri's not looking too good for that first sector. But I mean, we had rain yesterday with the Formula Challenge, and sometimes it can give you, a good couple of laps where you need to learn the new braking zones and things like that. When the weather changes, it can change quite drastically, and they need to adapt to the conditions quite quickly. It can sometimes take a while, though. I don't think it'll take too long for Giuseppe. Next lap will be a quick one, I'm sure, but he's obviously looking for, I think it's his fifth pole in a row, something like that?
It would be his fifth pole position in a row, yes. I don't think you really need us to tell you that you're doing in the past 6 races or so, 4 pole positions, 6 fastest laps, 6 race wins, and oh dear me, he's getting... we must admit, actually, we've been sort of wanting something to happen, because unfortunately, Ranieri has become pretty much the Supercup equivalent of an Italian Sebastian Vettel. He finds it fun, he loves it, but that's because he's out in the lead, that's because he's winning. Unfortunately for everyone else,
Oscar's
not so good, but yeah, Oscar Hardwick is currently provisional pole position after Ranieri's sloppy first sector, though. As we say, we expect him to move up quite quickly. And it must be said as well, the rain in this scene in the Formula Challenge. The Formula Challenge weather was very much intermediate. The better tyre was the slick tyre. In the end, we saw a number of people out of position, such as race winner Dawe Tapper, also Oskari Kantanen. But the wets are on here at the moment, and watching everyone going round, they're just about getting into the groove, but so much can change, and perhaps near the end of the session when people are trying to look for an advantage, if we start getting to that crossover point, which is usually about 20%, I think it'll be quite interesting to see who gambles to go onto the slicks, because in this sort of weather and these sorts of conditions, why not? You might get a lucky chance.
Yep, of course. I mean, that's why you've got to be out on track pretty much all of the time. Looking at it, I'm just going to check as they've crossed that. Okay, right, Giuseppe is improving, and so is Oscar, but not as much as Giuseppe is. So watch Giuseppe is going to cross the line. It is currently 34% wetness out there, stayed at 34% for quite a while now. As Giuseppe is going to have a quick run to the line, probably take P1 this time round, and he goes first, obviously with 123.170. Oscar gets very close with a 123.195. So Oscar is up there with Giuseppe at the moment, but if he it's all debatable if he'll keep that in the race, because Giuseppe always pulls something out in the race that just gives him a serious advantage.
Well, we saw Oscar actually, well, from what we could see as commentators at least, see that step up, which has really seen him actually come back into contention with Ranieri somewhat in the qualifying of the Nürburgring. He was only 1/10 off by the end of it all in dry running, let's not forget. And in the race, his hard tyre race pace was at times, and for the majority of the stint, faster than Ranieri himself. But the Italian was much faster on the soft tyres, and although he's not able to use it here at the moment in the race, we could very well see that sort of situation. So Oscar Hardwick trying everything he can to try and get ahead of Ranieri in some way or another. He still holds that championship lead, and even if we have another 1-2 Ranieri Hardwick respectively, like we have had in previous races, then he won't be losing that championship lead until maybe last 2 or 3 rounds.
Yeah, I was going to say, Oscar's just pulled into his pits. I was looking at the sector times. He was down about 3/10 through the first sector, couldn't see it in the second, so he's jumped straight into the pits. Which is, fair enough. I think the tyres are pretty much all gone. Giuseppe did improve in that lap. Apologies, 122.878 in your top 10 currently. Ranieri, Hardwick, Swokast in 3rd, Sven de Vries in 4th, although I think he's got a 10 plus grid penalty, if I'm
indeed
correct. Then it's Liebert in 5th, Scott Bennett in 6th, Walton Verns in 7th, Miguel Chumala in 8th, Mike Bell 9th, good job from him, and Oskari Kantanen, one of the FC drivers, doing pretty well out down there, is in 10th position in these tricky conditions. I mean, he was looking pretty good in the practice session. Maybe it's all for him gambling it on a dry race, and maybe he'll come strong there.
A couple of new names, couple of team changes to go through in the practice session following qualifying, which should be interesting to go over and discuss. But right now we have about 8.5 minutes left of qualifying left. Will the rain ease up? Will someone be able to take advantage of the weather? We're not too sure yet, but Renieri, I'm just seeing he's just going to round the final corner now. I'm just going to see whether he pits or not. It seems like he's actually fueled up quite a lot for this qualifying stint, and that must be worrying for the rest of the field, given that he's setting faster and faster times. As let's see what he does now as he runs up to the line. Another improvement, 122.5. Even in wet weather, they can't stop him. It's rather, well, we say this every week, don't we? It's ominous, really, and it must demotivate everyone else in the field. Oscar Hardwick getting very frustrated in the paddock earlier.
Yeah, Oscar Hardwick on this lap got caught up by Giuseppe Ranieri's teammate, so I don't think he's too happy in that car as well. Also, to point out, Giuseppe Ranieri is nearly 7/10 faster than P2 of Oscar Hardwick and over a second faster than P3 of Miko Swokas. So Giuseppe is just looking like the king here at the moment in Indy.
It's difficult whether the viewers should take the view. I mean, Hardwick has quite a strong view. He says that, in a sense, nobody should really bother because the race is made dull. Now, I'd like to think that the race doesn't necessarily have to be dull, because we looked at the 2011 Formula 1 World Championship where Sebastian Vettel dominated. There were plenty of great races in there behind the leader. And it was thankfully thanks to those people there that made that race so great. And just because we've got Renier running off into the distance does not mean we're going to have a boring race here at Indianapolis. On the other hand, though, for the championship, it doesn't really look good to have someone dominating for 4 races in a row. Pole position, fastest lap, and the race win. I've been mistakenly calling it the Grand Slam. I do apologise. It's actually just a hat-trick. Grand Slam being leading every lap of the race as well. But when you got someone just constantly at the front, Hardwick back at Manicourt. So therefore, Morten Bernardsen, Kantonen's teammate for this race, and the constant bobble driver will be there in P9. And Mikael Tumala, for the second week running, can you believe it, will get a Centurion Grand Prix car up into the top 10. So another good effort there from the Finn. That is 3 Finns in the top 10 this week.
Yeah, it's a good day to be finished if you're watching Supercup. But right, we're heading into the warm-up session where things are dry, which is always good. But I think we're going to have to look at this race not as a turning point in the championship or anything like that, but I kind of get the feeling that this is now where the drivers like Oscar, I mean, it's been wearing down on Oscar. You can even hear it when you're in the pre-race lobby, and it's like you can hear it that he just doesn't really want to be doing this. You can hear it in the post-race interviews where he's in it. He knows that Giuseppe's got something special in this car, and there's not really much he can do, and that is such a shame because I think for what could have been such an exciting championship, it's not heading that way.
No, it isn't. Well, let's look at the top 5 of the drivers anyway, just to see where we are at the moment. Oscar Hardwick leads on 222 points. Now, at this present moment in time, let me just do my maths again. It's 40. Yeah.
Come on, James. Quick maths, James. Come on.
I've done it. Don't worry. Ranieri is second, and he is 14 points behind Hardwick. So, as I say, still a bit of a gap. But if it's 1-2 Ranieri Hardwick, once again, like it has been for most of the races since Ranieri found something in the setup, that means that Ranieri will take the lead of the championship next round at Abu Dhabi. Ryan Walker, who of course doesn't race with us anymore, is on 168 points, still there in third. With Pavel Loknovsky, who doesn't race with us anymore either, still in fourth on 101. And we finally have a new 5th place man. Morten Bernardsen, after his hard work, has been able to niggle his way up into the top 5 on 93 points and is starting to catch Loknovsky now. and might actually overtake him this race if he has a good result. Looking at the constructors, CSG still pulling away on 391 points, ahead of Innovision by roughly 120 points. Innovision on 275 there, though they got to look in their rearview mirrors as Scuderia Basilia, with Ranieri on excellent form, are starting to catch them on 228 points there. Then we've got Motorforce kind of on their own on 201 in 4th place there, and then we've got a rather interesting battle for 5th. Target Racing and Satellite Racing have been struggling these past few races ever since Target Racing had driver problems in terms of contracts for a long time now, and Satellite Racing, after losing Ryan Walker, have really been nowhere, to be honest. They're separated by 3 points, but they've got Vodball catching up on them at a rate of knots. They're only 20 points behind Satellite and Target now, and there's a lot of potential to see that midfield battle for 5th change very quickly in the next 5 rounds or so. 5 rounds? No, 4 rounds.
4 rounds.
Street Fighter is there on their own in 8th position on 106. And then we've got a really nice battle developing at the bottom of the table, actually. PBD, Fox, PB, and FA, all of them separated by 20 points. And one good result for any of those teams could see a massive change in the pecking order there. Got to watch out for Centurion as well. Although they're 17 points behind FA, with Kenny Libert and now Tom Parker as well at the team, they've got certainly... Sorry, not Centurion. That's FA. Centurion, sorry, have got Mikael Tumala and Tommy Koivunen. They are looking much more on the pace, and as long as they get those consistent point scores in the bag, they can really drag themselves up into this battle to make it a 5-way battle for the bottom.
Yeah, well, this is the thing with this championship at the moment, is that if we aren't focusing at the front, where you'll usually see your Oscar Hardwicks or your Giuseppe Ranieri's running away from it. Below that, though, we have this championship that's constantly changing it about. Same as in Formula Challenge or even Super League, where below the top, you've just got all of these teams fighting it out and dusting it out, where every single tiny point matters. It doesn't matter if it's 1 point; that is key. You can have it where people can win the championship or win a position by scoring 1 point, and that's 1 point out of 300. But it's that 1 point that mattered. It was that 15th place finish back in anywhere, back in South Korea for all we know, and it was that 1 point, that one move that made the championship for them, and it's key. But I mean, when you look lower down, the championship is so close for them, and if we keep an eye on that throughout the race, then we'll start seeing a bit of excitement. I don't know if we're going to get it at the front though, but looking at the back, that's where we're going to get our excitement today.
Right then, let's just clarify now who the debutants and team movers are for this round here at Indianapolis. So, 2 debutants today. The aforementioned Agustin Canapino, the Argentine, highly rated by everyone in the paddock. Target were able to secure his services, and we are expecting good things from this man today. Starting lower than we were expecting, actually, and since he's starting P5, that is certainly saying a lot. Also, we've got Askari Kantonen. Vodball seems to have a knack of pinching FC winners now from their natural habitat. And Askari didn't have the best of rounds last time, in FC here at Indianapolis. But looking very good in the Supercup car, it must be said, and the Finn will be looking to impress. Well, I don't think he'll be looking to impress other teams necessarily. As I say, he's looking to move up with his own team, Adonis Engineering, Menno Klont, of course, the team owner there. But I think he's happy in that environment, and I don't think he'd want to change, and he'd want to possibly use this race as a tester session, if you will. In terms of team changes, the rather more impressive than we thought Mike Bell, who debuted with FA last round at the Nürburgring, didn't score points but had an impressive quali in 13. I believe he qualified 12th this time. I'll have to clarify that once we see the full grid. But he has moved to Target now. And the Englishman starting to really flourish as a driver here in these Super Cup conditions, and we wish him the best of luck. Apparently he can one-stop this race, which I think is a very good strategy option. I'm not sure whether everyone else is going to be two-stopping, but if he can one-stop, clearly that's the quickest way to go. And of course we've got Sven de Vries, who had a couple of outings for Innovision earlier in the year at Italy and France. He has replaced David Nichols at Satellite Racing. But he has a 10-place grid penalty, as we said, from Manicourt after his bust up with Oscar Hardwick in both the race and the paddock. Will be starting P19, which is a shame given that he was looking quite fast and has done pretty well in the Supercup races before.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame because I wrote it down that this is the first time we'd entered a Supercup round with no penalties since we went into Italy, so from Spa. No, other way around. Since we went into Spa from Italy. Is that right? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But now Sven Reese comes along and has a penalty, but still. Fun fact, it's the 5th time... Oh, Mike Bell gets into a bit of a kerfuffle. But it's the 5th time that we haven't had any penalties when entering a round if you exclude Sven de Vries. But that does include, obviously, Melbourne, where you couldn't really have dragged in a penalty.
Right, we have just had some very, very interesting news through from our cameraman for this evening, the ever wonderful Dave Carsmith, who returns to us from Italy. Oh. Yes, indeed, he does a wonderful job. He's told us to apologise if he's a bit slow on the cameras today, as he has literally just got back from Italy yesterday, just in time for the Formula Challenge. We've just received news that Brandon Warren for Satellite Racing and Tom Parker, who makes his debut today for FA Racing, are going to be starting from the back of the grid, opting to break Parc Ferme and begin with brand new setups. Big risk.
Oh, indeed. But the thing is that if you have things like, weather changes and you can adapt your setup to that weather change, then, that could be quite an advantage in the race, especially if you enter the race and it's raining and your original setup hadn't prepared for that. So it can be quite an advantage. It's quite a risk, but I mean, when driving around in quali, when it's the first time that you're really pushing the car, properly in an actual situation of qualifying or race, you can sometimes think of something with the setup that will give you, such a time advantage in comparison to what you had. Even if it's just like, oh, this car's understeering, I wonder if I just change the front wing slightly, or well, you can change it anyway, I think. But things like that, and so maybe if we go back, then there could be some advantage for these two. But as a driver, they know their car best at the moment. They know how they're driving best, and so it's. I'm sure they'll do fine. We'll just have to keep an eye on them and see if they can actually carve the way through the field, or if it was a mistake for them to do so.
I'm wondering whether they'll even try and switch setup if it starts in the wet, because we do have the potential for a wet race, as we had a wet quali. And, well, I don't think there'll be much need to switch on to a dry setup if we're starting in the wet, unless it's sort of intermediate weather.
Just have to see where it's going to go, isn't it? We just have to see what the drivers pick and what the conditions are. We've got 16 seconds of this session left, the warm-up session, and then we'll head to the race where they'll do their warm-up lap. And I wonder if we're going to have a red flag, because we've had so many this year.
We haven't had one in the last couple of races, have we? When was the last?
No, we did have like 3 in a row.
3 in a row, yeah, that's true.
I distinctly remember that because me and you commentated on a few of them. Like the first one, South Korea, there was a red flag there, and there was quite a few. There's quite a few red flags.
I think the last one was Manicourt.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm pretty certain it was.
Where were we last time out? I can't remember. I drove
Nürburgring.
Oh yeah, Germany. No, we didn't have a red flag.
Which was the round after Manicourt.
Yeah. Yes, because I can't remember where I've driven. That's why I constantly ask where we're going to next, because I can never remember. My memory is just terrible.
You better remember what's happening in the race, because otherwise we're going to have no idea what we're referring back to.
Oh, no, it's fine. It's fine. I'll just bring up like other races and things like that. Oh, hang on. Wasn't he leading? That was like 4 weeks ago. Oh.
Well, that would still be Ranieri, though, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah. Okay, fine. Touche.
Unfortunately, it's gone to that point where we can say, who was leading a few weeks back?
Oh, yeah,
Ranieri, yeah.
Just deja vu.
Right, so let's see. Oh, that's just loading Patrick Gaywood. I am really eagerly anticipating what the weather's going to be like. Because as much as we love Ranieri, a really nice guy, makes great videos to watch in the forums. We really do need something to happen to him in order to make this championship exciting again. Like, even if it's a drive, even if he wins it, but he does it from the back of the grid, that
it sounds more, and I can confirm there is no rain. No rain.
Oh, good.
Oh, God.
It could rain later.
It could rain later. We've got about an hour-long race, something like that, around tracks such as this, 47 laps, not including the warm-up lap. And hopefully enough time to make an interesting race, but not enough time that we've all fallen asleep. They're just heavy rainy areas run away with it again.
Should we say this is one of the quickest races on the calendar? It may be a 4.2 kilometer circuit, but very, very quick laps here. And we're looking more at a 50-minute race as opposed to the usual hour. So, have we seen this before? Well, yes we have. It's Giuseppe Ranieri on pole for the 5th time in a row, almost up and equaling Oscar Hardwick's current total of 6 poles in a row. He starts there on pole for Scuderia Basilia with championship rival Oscar Hardwick right behind him in P2. Supercup prodigy since his entrance, Mikko Sukas the Finn will be starting P3 for Innovision with Kenny Liebert. Since return to GPVWC, he's been doing very well for FA Racing, and it's good to see him constantly improving there. Augustin Canapino making his debut for Target Racing is the Argentine. Will start in P5 with Oskari Kantonen making his debut for Vodball Racing in P6. Menno Klont doing a good job for Motorforce up in P7. Behind him, Kantonen's teammate Morten Vernonsen starting P8, and he's currently 5th in the championship, looking to pass Loknovsky for this round. Mikael Tumala starting P9 for Turin, so we've lost someone. Oh, of course, we lost Tom Parker, yes, at the back of the grid. So yeah, Mikael Tumala will start P9 for Centurion. Good starting place for him. Scott Bennett in the top 10 for Innovision. Great effort from the Englishman there. Patrick Aywood for Motorforce will be starting P11 for Motorforce, I should say, with Roy Schoten. Starting P12 for CSG. Mike Bell starts P13 again, then, for Target Racing. Good effort from the Englishman. With John McLean, P14, but he spun at the little first gear hairpin section, so he'll have to slot into his grid place last. Sven Schubert will start in P15 for PB Racing with Tommy Koivu P16 for Centurion. Mark Wicks will start in P17 for Street Fighter, a bit low for him, with Christoph Lichtenstein, 2010 Supercup champion, starting P18 for PB, a bit higher than his Nürburgring performance. Ben de Vries, after his 10 place grid drop, will start in P19 for Satellite. Watch out for him as he makes his way up the field with Carvin Hermser, the Dutchman for PVD Motorsport. Good save. Trying to burn up on the ring is not a good idea. Martin Mulgin will be starting P21 for Scuderia Basilia, with Andreas Waters starting P22 for Fox Racing, and Tom Parker and Brandon Warren for FA Racing and Satellite Racing respectively will be heading up the rear of the grid after opting to break Park Ferme.
At least we've got more than 6 starters.
Absolutely. It's better than the 2005 Indianapolis Grand Prix, that is for sure, as poor old John McLean waving hello to everyone as he slots into his grid box. We hope this is a good race for your and our pleasures. The red lights come on, the engine revs will rise, and here in the US of A, we are go! And it's another slow start for Giuseppe Ranieri. We thought he got this sorted at Nürburgring, not so, and Oscar Hardwick is straight up along the inside of the Italian as we come flying down into turn 1 here. Ranieri drops for the outside line, and is he going to be... wow, good offensive driving from Ranieri, holding on to the lead. Very well there, Kenny Liebert around the outside of Mikko Sukas. Good drive. Oh, watch out! Goodness me, contact with Oscar Hardwick there. And Kenny Liebert is looking racing in this early stage of the race. Mikko Sukas down to 4th, Ascari up to 5th. Menno Klont up to 6th, and that's Augustin Canapino. Pretty bad start there. What a start from Patrick Aywood up into P8. Brilliant. And Mark Wicks from P17 to P10 already. Great start from him. But up at the front of the grid, look at this, it's almost 3 wide into this very tight difficult section. It's Kenny Liebert going to go around the outside. What a wonderful move from the Belgian up into P2, and Oscar Hardwick is watching his championship hopes flush away.
Just notice that Oscar gets really out of shape there, but something I've just really noticed is that Oscar is on the yellow-walled harder tyre at the moment. Just a quick point out.
Oh, of course, because they have free choice of tyres, didn't they? Well, we completely ignored this, and Oscar Hardwick is just getting swamped now. Kantonen goes past, Klont goes past, and Oscar Hardwick slots back into P5. It's Ranieri leading from Libert, Canton and Clont, Hardwick. Though Clont and, oh my word, Hardwick are going to go through wide. Oh, contact between the two. Hardwick goes to the inside of turn 1. Canton sweeps it around the outside. Lovely. Oh, and he's on to cross. Goodness me. That was close as Clont's going to capitalise from the slow exit of Canton now around the outside of Hardwick. This is really good racing. Up the inside goes Hardwick. Nothing doing there. Look at Miko Sukas. Opportunistic move from the fin. He's going to stick it up there, but nothing doing. And my word, what action here in the upper reaches at the top 10, but at the front is Ranieri off into the distance once again.
Please say Libert's got really good pace. Please say Libert's got really good pace. Please say Libert's got really good pace. But no, it's all coming a bit undone for Oscar Hardwick. He is on the yellow walled harder tyres, as has been said earlier on, as that is Cantonen, who was taking a very odd line. There, I will point out someone who's really struggling at the moment, who has just gone through the pits. I noticed him from the start. He clonked the wall on the left-hand side. Is Morten Bernison, who's all the way at the back. So he had a terrible start, and has just come out of the pit lane a little while ago, and is now trying to close up to the back of Scott Bennett.
The gap as they cross the line we have our first retirement of the day already. Roy Schroten, after the highs of a 5th place at the Nürburgring, he retires once again for CSG Racing. The gap between the front two, Ranieri and Libert, only gone up by 3/10. So Libert not doing too shabby a job actually, and if he has better tyre wear than Ranieri, which is completely a possibility, then we might see the Belgian make some form of an impact on this race. It's Cantonen and Clont behind. The battle is separated there. Hardwick trying hard to defend off Miko Sukas and Patrick Gatewood there in P6 and P7. Mikael Tamala though, look at this, he's battling with Augustine Canapino. I think there was contact there, and Canapino, the Argentine, on his debut here at GPVWC, up into 8th place for the Norwegian outfit. Mark Wicks though, I just want to go back to him. What a start! P17 to P10 by the end of the first lap. That is why you want someone of his experience in your team.
He's on the yellow ball tyres as well, so that's interesting.
Is he really?
Also, I don't know if you can see it on the broadcast, if you've ever looked at Patrick Gatewood, it looks like he's running on the blue walled wet tyres. He absolutely is not. But that is what it's showing on my screen at the moment, so it's just glitched out. So if you have seen that, if that is on the broadcast, that is the reason that is not the case.
With no chance with the have that, and looking up at the front, dearie me, Giuseppe Ranieri has pulled out a full second over Libert in the last lap or so, and I think that was down to a mistake as Tommy Koivunen is past Mark Wicks for P10 and P11, heading down to turn 1. Will Wixie be able to take that position back? And looking back at the front, Oscar Hardwick and Miko Sukas are now starting to come together. Look at this, Hardwick is really struggling currently. And Miko Sukas is getting frustrated. Here goes Patrick Gatewood diving down the inside. Oh no! That was silly from the American. Here it is, home track. And don't rejoin Patrick. And well, that ruined a pretty good battle. He's going to get swamped. Here is he? He just about defends off Christoph Lichtenstein, but I think Lichtenstein is going to get the better drive out to that corner, and from a very good position at P7 after a great start, Patrick Gatewood finds himself. I'm just going to check, is he still? I think he's just about going to hold it. P13 there for the American, not good at all.
No, but that's given a bit of breathing room for Oscar Hardwick, and I will confirm it does say on the broadcast that he's running on the Patrick Gatewood's running on the blue wall tyres. Absolutely not. I mean, even with that crash, there is no way. I will put the blame on Gatewood for that crash. He dived down the inside when he shouldn't have. He was far too far back. I can understand why it did look like there was a move there, but that was absolutely not the line you should be taking for that corner, and it's cost him and Sukas, but at least Sukas is still in 6th position.
Someone who has benefited massively from that actually is Gatewood's compatriot Spender Brees, who's looking up the inside of Tommy Koivunen here for P9. Good move from the American. Really decisive move. Not the most popular of characters here at GPVWC, kind of criticised now for his aggressive driving style, his aggressive personality, but when he gets the job done like this up into P9 from a starting place of P19 in 5 laps, very good job from the American here though. Looking at the other Centurion driver now, Mikael Tumala, under real pressure here from the Argentine Augustin Canapino. It could be said that this is possibly Augustin's closest home race, maybe Brazil actually. But Agustin looking very racy here, and Mikael Tumala will be wanting good position for Centurion. but at the same time you'd want to think that he'd want to at least save his car rather than try and race Canapino to the death.
Yeah, Augustin's looking pretty strong. He's going to have a drive, is he? I don't think he's got the. He's quite close enough to take advantage of the slipstream. I see just ahead. You've got Sukas going side by side with Oscar Hardwick. Can't make it. We can't make it stick. I think Hardwick's got some nice straight line speed in that car at the moment.
And here goes Canapino once again. Oh my words!
That was close.
There's the term of a love nudge. That was more of a full-on backsnog there from Canapino's. Oh my word! Goodness me!
Wow!
Wow! How did he hold that together? That was astonishing. Is he actually going to make it? Wow! That was. I thought he was just going to go flying off into the gravel there, and a bit of contact from the Finn of Tuamala there. But my word, that was dramatic from Canapino. And look at this.
Yeah,
Sven de Vries is now going to try and capitalise on it now. Tries up the inside, nothing doing there for the American, and this battle between Tuamala and Canapino has very much become a menage a trois, and Canapino's got to beat a menage a trois.
Okay, no, sorry, I don't need a lesson. I'm just going to bring up the fact that Sven de Vries is also bringing Tuamala's teammate with him, Koivunen.
Excellent racing. Lots of drama here at Indianapolis already, and we're only on lap 7 of 8, and here goes Mikko Sukas once again. Going to try it around the outside of Oscar Hardwick, remember, on the yellow wall tyre. And, there was contact there, but Mikko Sukas is through nice and safely up into P5.
Yeah, Sukas probably didn't give quite enough space there on the apex for Oscar, but either way, that move was pretty much done. It's good that neither was taken out. But Sukas, just give a little bit more space on the apex next time, because there is still going to be a car on the inside. You can't expect them just to disappear.
Right, back to his battle for P7 and P8.
Oh
no! Oh my word, that was close.
Whoa, that was.
Oh my word!
I'm surprised he didn't hit a wall or another car. Good driving from everyone to avoid that. Mike Bell's about to have a look.
I don't think he will.
Doesn't? Interesting there.
The thing I know about Mike Bell is that if he knows a teammate is faster than him, he will never try to overtake them. He's you might call him a very race-aware driver. He knows that if there's a faster man behind him, whether it is his teammate or not, he knows that if he lets him pass, or her of course, and they're able to catch up to the person in front and cause battling up ahead, possibly an incident, then he can capitalise on that. And currently running in P11, Mike Bell is doing very well, and he'll actually be able to get a slipstream from his teammate there. And look at this!
Oh, nice!
I'm wondering whether Canapino let him through there, because the differential in straight line speed was extraordinary there. And Mike Bell now finds himself up into the top 10.
Yeah, maybe Canapino had a bit of a rough drive off of the final turn, but or second to final turn really. But if Mike Bell's going to be one-stopping, then that's going to play quite nicely into Mike Bell's hands. But
looking up at
P7
once again,
Mike Bell's letting through again. Oh, Canapino spun again!
Oh no! Oh, and that is Mr. Canapino meeting good old Mr. Wall, and I think the Argentine has been struggling. Indeed, he's been struggling with his brakes. It seems really not able to get that car stopped in time, and now he's actually out of the points. Although Tom Parker's just gone wide over the Sydney policeman, which I so lovingly caressed last night out in Formula Challenge. Only a point to his name now.
That is a shame, but maybe he's got some damage in that. I have noticed that his ping's slightly higher. He does look a bit laggy if you see him driving around. Not quite to a ridiculous level or an uncomfortable level, but I really wouldn't be wanting to go wheel to wheel with that, because you just don't know what they're doing until about quarter of a second later. And I mean, that doesn't sound like much, but quarter of a second is absolutely everything. A quarter of a second can change a crash situation entirely. So you wouldn't really want to be going to wheel with that, unfortunately. But he's still going well. He's still in 15th, and just hope that he doesn't have any damage and can get back onto this.
While we were looking at that, I was sort of muffled out about it, but Sven de Vries has got past Mikael Tuamala now, is starting to pull away from the Finn at a rate of knots. So Sven de Vries up into 7th there for his new team, Satellite Racing. The two Centurions are then running line astern in P8 to P9, and Mike Bell, because of that mistake from his teammate once again, finds himself back up in the top 10. Very credible drive so far from the Englishman, though. On lap 9, nearly to be lap 10 of 47 here. Giuseppe Ranieri leads Kenny Libert, the Belgian, by 8 or so seconds. It really is starting to become another domination story for the Italian, but we must remember that a couple of contenders, or the main protagonist in this, Oscar Hardwick at least, is on the hard wall tyre. And so we don't really know what sort of pace he can do on the soft and whether he can catch up that lead, which Ranieri is starting to eke out more and more for himself.
Yeah, I mean, there's 17 seconds between them at the moment, but something to point out is that the pit lane here, although it's quite long, the entrance on it's, I wouldn't say it's difficult, but you have to slow down a bit more than sometimes you think. But the exit's quite long as well. You're only under the speed limiter for a short period of time, I would say, in comparison to the actual length of the pit lane. But on your screen now is in fact Giuseppe Ranieri, who has that nearly 8-second lead over Kenny Libert. So he's running away with this one once again. However, throughout the grid we've had some good battles so far, and looks like I'm just having a little flick through now to see if anyone's quite close, and we seem to have a little bit of a breathing room at the moment. It looks like Klont's going to the back of Canton anytime soon, so he's closing up for a podium position.
That'd be nice.
Indeed.
A couple more retirements to tell you about, actually, which we completely missed due to the frantic action going on so far. Sven Schubert for PB Racing out with an accident on lap 6 of 47. Tom Parker, after that incident we saw, running on the edges. I'm pretty sure that those sleeping policemen on the outside of, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, turn 6. I'm sure they're lethal. They took about 5 litres out of my fuel tank last night, and I'm pretty sure they've done some sort of terminal damage to Tom Parker because he retired very, very early after that incident. Which is a shame, but there you go. That is what you get in racing, unfortunately. And I'm just looking down the rest of the field. I think you are absolutely... Oh, is that close? We do have a battle between Calvin Hermser and the man who seems to be grabbing all the attention here, Agustin Canapino. Canapino, the Argentine, looking at the inside, and my word, that was nicely done. Canapino, I've noticed, has got a very... What's the best way of describing it? A very direct front end. He just seems to turn straight away. It's not even like there's some flow into it. It's almost like he's just pointing a rocket in a completely different direction. And I'm pretty sure that will have led to an unstable rear end, which might be the cause of some of his issues here. Perhaps a more subtle driving style is required for these cars, I'm thinking.
Well, they're tough cars to drive, are these ones, so it's just a bit of careful awareness when driving them, as you've got to keep knowledgeable as to what the car's doing, and if you're not, it will catch you out, and then you'll fly over those lethal sleeping policemen that you say about.
Canapino now going to try and catch up to the back of Patrick Gatewood, man, of course, who had an incident earlier on in the race, just like Canapino. And I'm pretty sure Canapino will catch up to him at the rate of the knots here, and that battle will soon commence very soon here on lap 12 of 47. But looking up to the front, that gap between Ranieri and Libert has now extended itself to 10.6 seconds. I don't think we'll find our winners in Libert, Canton and Klont or Sukas. It's all about what Hardwick can do.
Pitted. Libert's pitted.
Who is pitted?
Libert.
Libert, interesting. Right, so our first pitch of the day, Kenny Libert. Presumably, that's very early, yeah.
Well, no, I suppose if you go in soft, hard, soft, then that's about right. I mean, we see that quite a lot from some of these drivers.
Out onto the soft compound tyre goes Kenny Libert, will mean that he will have to stop again. I think this is going to be the way for everyone else to go, and as I said, Mike Bell claims that he can do a one-stop. Which might see very good results for the Englishman. But Kenny Libert actually doing very nicely here, out ahead of Mike Bell into P9. Not too far behind Tommy Koivunen and the Mikael Tumala either. So a good stop there from Libert and the FA Racing pit crew. We'll have to see what he can do on some fresh boots.
Yeah, that's the thing with Mike Bell. I mean, we've discussed it before. We've discussed it in Germany that Mike Bell should have been able to do a one-stop there, but I think he had an accident that meant he had to come into the pits and have some damage fixed or something like that, and that cost him a few positions and put him in 16th, which was last at the time. But I mean, I think he looks a lot more comfortable in these Supercup cars than he does in the Formula Challenge cars. And if he can one-stop in this, that, if he's got the pace that he's got, which, seems pretty good at the moment, then it's looking okay.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, yes, we've got Oscar Hartwick and Chris going side by side now. Oh, James, what happened the last time we had this? Was it a red flag?
It was a red flag and a bust-up. And this is... Oh, I can't see this ending well, Lewis. Oscar Hardwick on the... Oh, my God! Well, that is what we were expecting. Oscar Hardwick trying to defend for his life off the American Fender Breeze, trying to do well here at his home race for Satellite Racing. Of course, home team as well, based in the US of A. And oh my dearly lord, this is... no words, Lewis, no words.
I've never been so scared whilst looking at two people who are dueling side by side and aren't actually making contact with each other yet. It's just... you get the feeling this is going to end really badly, but the good thing is that at the moment they've got quite a nice gap to the car in front and to the car behind, so it's just these two in a little bubble of themselves, so hopefully if something goes wrong it won't affect anyone else.
It's like our own it's like our very own Supercup version of Johnny Cecotto and Sergio Canamassas, isn't it?
Yeah, we just don't know what's going to happen.
No, exactly.
At least these two are good drivers.
They are, absolutely. Both have their own unique qualities about them. Oscar Hardwick, very pragmatic. Sven de Vries, very aggressive driver, gets the job done. Up into P6. Let us remind you, from a starting position of P19 on the grid. And here he goes with a sizable slipstream down the back straight, though it seems Oscar Hardwick's gearing is much better. Is that Mikael Tumala into the pits? Yes, it is. So the Finn, Mikael Tumala from Centurion Grand Prix, comes into the pits here on lap 15 of 47, our second major pitter of the day, onto the soft tyres like Kenny Libert. He will have to two-stop as well.
Yeah, well, I think most people are going to be ending for a two-stop. It's going to be soft, hard for quite a lot of them. I think the one tyre strategy they're going to have to really look out for too, really, is Mike Bell's, just to see if he's actually going to do a one-stop. And Giuseppe Ranieri, I wonder when he's going to pit. I'm going to keep an eye on him now. He's keeping quite tight as you would. He doesn't pit, so he's staying out. Is Giuseppe at the moment, and on your screen at the moment is two people going side by side, and it's actually Sven de Vries and Oscar Hardwick. Once again, they're getting quite close to each other.
Dumont out into P14, by the way, so back into the points is the Finn. So a good pit stop there from the Centurion boys as well, who've been picking up speed really ever since the European season started. On your screen, so Oscar Hardwick, Sven de Vries, the Carnage, or well, you say the Carnage, and Miko Sukas is in. I was going to keep an eye on it, but Miko Sukas are...
Softs.
Interesting. He's going soft as well as the Finn. Sven de Vries, I don't think, has got the gearing to catch Hardwick because he just seems to lose speed even in the slipstream. Looking at Miko Sukas, so Kenny Libert blasts past the Finn. So Libert comfortably back in front of him. And there's Mike Bell going past as well, having to P7. So Miko Sukas. Oh, and is that Mark Wicks? Oh, he comes out just ahead of Mark Wicks, who is yet to stop on the harder compound tyres, let us remind you. So Sukas back out into 8th.
Yeah, that's worked out quite nicely for Sukas, or has it? No,
sorry, our leader Ranieri's in. Our leader Giuseppe Ranieri is in on lap 16 of 47. Now, I am wondering whether he's going to go onto the hard tyres here.
He doesn't.
So Ranieri will be guaranteed another pit stop. Askari Kansanen then, on his debut here in Supercup, will go through to take the lead of this Indianapolis race. Menno Klon also goes through to take P2, and Giuseppe Ranieri... Oh, here's something interesting. Giuseppe Ranieri is going to come out just ahead of Oscar Hardwick. Here comes Oscar Hardwick into the braking zone, and no, actually, Ranieri comfortably ahead. And I think if Hardwick is to do anything about this lead, he's going to have to try and one-stop here.
Yeah, also, I'm just going to apologise. When I meant someone doing really well, I meant Kenny Libert, not Sukas, because he got caught out of it, did Sukas, but Libert paid off quite nicely for. That's what I meant. Trying to figure it out. Couldn't.
Well, Sven de Vries has been in and out as well, and he's come out in P9, just ahead of Agustin Canapino. So that's most of our major pitters. The two major pitters that we got to see now are Cantonen, Clont, and Hardwick, and Bell as well. And possibly Wixie as well, given that he's on the hard tyres. Around the final corner now, Cantonen dives in, both of them pit.
Yeah.
Right. So it's going to be a race between the Vodbull and Multiforce pit crews here at Indianapolis. This is going to be for possibly a podium position, as Giuseppe Rinieri is pretty much guaranteed the lead. Hardwick goes around again.
Softs.
Clont onto the softs,
Cantonen onto the softs.
So they are both going for 2 stops as well. Kenny Libert coming round just about now. Clont leaves ahead. Oh, is he just ahead of Cantonen? Oh, they're going to be side by side, and Cantonen's just got it. They're going to be side by side coming out of the pit lane. Kenny Libert, though, is comfortably through. Side by side.
It's like a drag race now.
It is indeed. I think Cantonen has just got the edge on Clont here. Heading into turn 1.
Libert,
it goes to Cantonen. And Libert, hoping to be... here goes Miko Sukas. And he is around the outside of Mike Bell, who is yet to stop. Mark Wicks there as well. Let's see. I'm just looking at the gap. Look at the gap between Kenny Libert and Ranieri. That has gone down considerably by about a second and a bit.
Which means I think that Kenny Libert will know that, and he'll pit early onto the harder tyre. As long as he can get around in it. Yeah, that has definitely gone down a bit. We'll just... I think we'll see that extend, though.
Yeah,
before the end of this, because Giuseppe's just too quick.
He is indeed. Where is Hardwick?
Oh, Canton and Clont are very close together.
Oh, they are indeed. Let's keep an eye on this battle. Keep an eye on Hardwick as well. They're just about to enter the major slipstream section of this track as Hardwick is going round again. Cantonen and Clont then battling it out for possibly a podium position if Hardwick isn't one-stopping. It's going to be debatable. These two are going to have to pit again, as are the majority of the field. But it seems here that Clont has got a similar issue to what Sven de Vries had with Oscar Hardwick, and that he just doesn't seem to have the gearing to capitalise on that slipstream there, and Cantonen easily able to stay ahead.
I think it comes down to wings a lot as well. I think Oscar's running a bit lower wings than some of the people that are trying to overtake him, and that's what's giving him the acceleration and why he doesn't necessarily need a slipstream going down the main overtaking opportunity, as it were, which is the straight. But Cantonen, though, staying ahead. When Cantonen led the race, I think Tapper's done the same thing as well in that Vodbull. So Vodbull, they are picking up their nice, good FC drivers, aren't they?
One must worry for Dan Brusu, though, who misses out on this weekend, on this race evening yet again. The official reason is that he was late at work and he couldn't come home in time to take part. But he's giving, basically, opportunities to these young drivers, Tapper and Cantonen, to impress him. As I say, I think Cantonen will be sticking with Adonis Engineering for next year, if Adonis Engineering, of course, gets into Supercup. But basically, Dan Russo is letting these guys show, not only themselves, but the rest of the paddock, how better they are than him. And it's kind of a shame, given that the Romanian was looking to be on an upward spiral after his excellent Spa performance.
Yeah, but I mean, things sometimes happen that conspire against, especially with exterior events. I'm sure you're fully aware of that, James. There's sometimes, that life takes priority, and sim racing is just a hobby, as has been discussed many a time throughout the paddock with a lot of different drivers. But it is just a hobby, and I still think Rusu's going to be welcomed back to Vodbull. I mean, that's why I think Tapper's not in that seat and it's Cantonen, because I don't know.
Tapper ran out of reserve drive races. That's why he couldn't race.
Right.
Again.
But yeah, okay, that's fair.
Hardwick's in.
Okay, so Hardwick's doing a two-stop.
Yep, that is lap 21 of 47. Effectively, he is pitting on, and the hard tyres as well. So he goes
to the soft.
Well, yeah, he goes to the soft. So he's going to be going soft, hoping for a late race charge. So Kenny Libert re-inherits second place. Ascari Cantonen into third. Menno Clont into fourth. Miko Sukas into fifth. And Oscar Hardwick. Oh, here comes Mike Bell. Will Hardwick... No, he won't. Bell is ahead.
And Sven de Vries.
Oh, dearie me. This has not gone well for Oscar Hardwick, who won't be losing out to Mikael Tumala, but will be losing out to Mike Bell, Sven de Vries, Actually, has something happened to Sven de Vries? Or has he got past Mark Wicks? I think he's got past Mark Wicks.
Yeah, he has quite recently as well. I think Sven de Vries will be heading up to the back of Mike Bell ever so shortly. Look at how much he closes in. Jesus.
Really
Sven de Vries is on a charge.
But remember, these two are on completely different tyres. Mike Bell on hard tyres, which are now 21 laps old. Sven de Vries on pretty much near enough a fresh set of red boots. And oh my word, he's trying to punch his way through there, and he does make it stick. Thankfully, not much contact between the two. Both of them come out alive, which is the main thing. And I do notice that Mike Bell's actually losing a lot of time to Mark Wicks now. And then
I think he'll be pitting soon onto the hard tyre. We're approaching halfway in the race where, you know, we obviously expect the harder tyres to go a little bit further. So I think we'll see him pitting ever so slightly soon.
Oh, Mark Wicks pits. And he started on the hard tyre.
Okay, I think he'll be two-stopping as well.
So he'll be two-stopping. So Mike Bell, on the hard tyre, was looking reasonably slower than Mark Wicks. But, crucially, he is still going. And if he makes it to the halfway mark, which is not too far away, then he'll only have a few more laps to go. And, well, who knows what he can get out of this race.
Well, I think Mike Bell should consider pitting soon. I mean, he doesn't even have to pass halfway, of course, because the yellow wall tyres will go a bit further. So pitting anytime soon.
Sorry, is he on the red or the hard tyre?
He's on the red.
He's on the reds. Apologies. Right.
Mike Bell's on the red tyre.
There's plenty to come out of this race yet, and Mark Wicks comes out in P11, so a very good pit stop from the Street Fighter boys there, actually. And that means that Mikael Tumala and Tommy Koivunen are making it a double top 10 for Centurion. Once again, that outfit, the South African outfit, looking better and better by the race. Your gap up at the front now. Giuseppe Ranieri leads by 10.8 seconds from Kenny Liebert, so it's not actually gone up that much in quite a few laps. It's only gone up about a couple of seconds.
Oh, Bell pits.
And right, Bell does pit. Okay, so on lap, effectively 23 of 47 here. It's the halfway point. He has made it to the halfway point on red wall tyres. His one stop will be a working stop for Mike Bell. He will absolutely be able to make it to the end. Oh?
That's interesting. He's on the red wall tyres.
Oh dear.
And he didn't... Okay, now, two things that I noticed about this pit stop. Number one, three things then. He exited on red wall tyres. Number two, he entered the pit lane not particularly quickly. I think he could have done it a bit faster, which could have cost him a bit of time. And he left his pit box really slowly.
I think he's messed this up, hasn't he?
I think he's messed this up.
Oh dear.
Now that's a shame.
That is a shame, because if he had made it onto the hard wall tyres, I mean, let's see, he's 58 seconds, so let's say that everyone else has about 20-second pit stop? Or, actually, no, it's more than that, isn't it? It's like
more
20,
than that around here.
It's like 25 seconds, so...
From the pit stop, you lose about 20 seconds. 25 seconds.
He was looking at a solid top 10.
That is a shame. But, I mean, to be fair to him, you know, usually races in Formula Challenge, not used to this pit stop lark, so...
No.
You know, this is his second race, so things to learn. I mean, to even have had that pace and that idealism to go to that strategy that would have possibly given him a one-stop.
Is he going to pit? No, he's going to.
No, he's not. I think he's going to stay out on these tyres now, as these are the faster tyres. He'll just go as far as he can on them and then pit for
make a late stop. Yeah.
Some yellows. Yeah, he's got some time to play with now. But that is a shame. Still though, 12th position, so good points at the moment. Depending on what the people behind him are doing, including his teammate who's just behind him on the yellow wall tyres is Canapino. But yeah, it's a shame for Mike Bell if that was the case, that he was trying to go onto yellows and just forgot to change it. It's not something that Formula Challenge drivers have to deal with.
I don't think it's a case of whether he was thinking of doing it, he was going to do it. Because he was speaking to me rather excitedly before the race about how he got a one-stop nailed, and I think this is one of the qualities of Mike Bell, which if he does stay in Supercup as well, what's happened to Liebert? Oh, Liebert's coming for his second stop already.
Okay.
Right, that's a very early stop.
What was his last two pit stops?
Stop, so he's on the hard tyres.
Okay, I'm just going to point this out now that I think. Okay, now I've just got it through that Mike Bell, the pits didn't change the tyre compound for him. I think there could be a glitch in the system because Kenny Lee Bear has had exactly the same problem. Kenny Lee Bear is out on the red-walled softer tyre. Right.
Right.
Well, here comes the mysteries of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where we have absolutely no idea what has just happened. But for Mike Bell, it is very unfortunate that is the case.
Dave Smith has just come through and said that Pony Lee Bear's on a 3-stop. Now, I can't see possibly
where
why he would think a 3-stop is a good idea. That makes no sense at all.
I personally think that was a mistake. Not the fact of him doing a 3-stop. I think it's the fact of I don't know, it looked like he was trying to do a 2-stop. Maybe the yellow walls were going to go this far from the test. Mike Bell gets a bit out of shape, but I don't know. I don't see why you would even attempt a 3-stop. Maybe the tyre wear for him is very drastic, but I would have thought he would have tried going onto the yellow wall tyres. We'll just have to see for the next person who pits, see if they actually change compound of tyre.
Why we don't go to Indianapolis anymore in F1? It hurts people's brains.
Brains. 5 cars, 6 cars, driving around. At least he got more than that. Oh, Sven de Vries gets very close to Bolgin, who was being lapped. Or I think it was Bolgin. Yes, it was indeed. But Sven de Vries there getting around them. In 5th place, though, running quite well. Someone who isn't going so well, unfortunately, is Oscar Hardwick. But hasn't really played into his hands as this race, unfortunately, for Oscar. And running down in 7th place. I mean, I know before the race he really wasn't confident. He was saying that he'd be happy with, well, you know, as happy as you could be with somewhere like 5th. That's where he was thinking he was going to end up. And unfortunately, at the moment, that doesn't seem too plausible. We'll just have to see how that's going to work out. Oscar's quite a determined driver, but I think he's just lost his motivation with this Super Cup at the moment.
Let's see, 25 points to 9. 25 minus 9 is 16. So, if the points stay as they are, Giuseppe Ranieri will take the lead of this championship.
At which point, I mean, I know Oscar's main goal is to have CSG win the teams. I think it is, isn't it?
Yes.
I think as soon as that is done, he'll be out. That's where I'm thinking it's going from, because I think he's just given up, really, unfortunately. Poor Oscar. Just some things don't work out. I mean, it was looking. I mean, you look at back in Italy, or even before then, really. It was looking so good for him, for Oscar, and when he was catching up to the back of Ryan Walker, and it's just fallen apart ever since Giuseppe Ranieri started winning everything, and it's kind of just fallen apart for him at the moment.
I liken it to a touring car seat. I mean, obviously, if you have been with GRC, for example, for a number of years, you'll know that site has now officially closed its doors. And for the last full season, there was a really interesting battle at the front. And I mean, it was a really, really good battle between Oscar Hardwick, Borna Spoljaric, Martin Palm, and Toby Davis. Now, those 4 drivers were winning races on a regular basis, and the championship was absolutely wonderful. But at the halfway point, Toby Davis found something in the setup which made him extraordinarily fast. Now, this didn't mean that he got pole position at every race. Far from the truth is that, because in the qualifying session there, you have only 1 hot lap to get your lap in. But his pace was extraordinary, to the degree that he was starting from the back of the grid sometimes and finishing in the top 5. And it's become a very similar situation here at Supercup, where Ranieri's just found something, combined with the quality of his driving here. The fact that the qualifying session allows you to have multiple qualifying lap runs, and the fact that the races are longer and means that you get into a groove, less chance theoretically for mistake. It's going very much the same way, and whereas 3 people in this situation saw everything fall apart at the seams. Here it's very specialised to Oscar Hardwick. Oscar Hardwick was one of those people in the GRC season 14 that just said, look, that's it, I can't be bothered because Toby Davis is not there. And has someone gone off? I've noticed smoke at the final turn. I think someone's going to the pits. But he was one of those people that said, look, there's no point in racing. Toby Davis is simply just too fast. This has happened again here. Ranieri has just got something. And who is it has pitted?
Chumala.
It is Chumala, right. So
he's gone to the yellows.
Right, well, that was expected. So he is the first main people to pit. But yeah, going back to what I was saying.
First main people. Yeah. Nice English.
Yeah. I'm just... long story, Lewis. It's long story short, it's just kind of not good for Hardwick. I mean, look where Mike Bell is now, actually. Ahead of Chumala.
It's working out for Mike Bell. I mean, he's definitely going a lot better.
He's been on the hard tyres, though.
He should be on the hard tyres, but just think of it. Oh, if he was on the hard tyres, god damn it.
Yeah,
he'd be looking really good at the moment, but unfortunately that is not the case. And, well, we all learn from our mistakes. I mean, I've not been sim racing for very long, but you learn a lot very quickly when you drive in leagues like this, like Formula Challenge, like Super League. You learn very quickly, and every mistake you make is an experience that you can learn from, and I'm sure Mike Bell will be doing that in the car now. So he'll be making sure next time, every single time he goes into the pits from now on, that everything is just right, all the settings are just right, and everything is the way that he wants it before he's even started the lap that he wants to pit on.
Right, we've got 2 more retirements through. John McLean, yet again, retiring
that was quite
from
a while
a
ago,
Supercup race. That was a while ago and completely bypassed me, but that boy needs to get consistency into his system because he's just crashing out at every race, losing good points as well. He's got the potential to be a very good consistent point scorer, not living up to that potential. And Brandon Warren as well, retiring for Satellite Racing, leaving only one of those respective cars in the race. Let's see, your gap at the front then is 18.5 seconds. Ranieri to Canton and Clont in that podium position. Sukas, though, does seem to be catching the Dutchman at quite a fast pace. Not too sure. Those two have still got to pit again. Sven de Vries there in 5th, Kane Lee Bear in 6th, Oscar Hardwick 7th, Tommy Koivunen in 8th, Mark Wicks up into 9th, and Patrick Gatewood rounds out your top 10. Mike Bell has to pit again from 11th with Mikel Tumala in 12th. Augustin Canapino is in P13 with Morten Bernison after his first lap nightmare. Back up to P14 for Volvo, also a good drive from the Dane there. And Martin Bolgin rounds out your point scorers in P15, a lap down.
I've just seen. That's why Koivunen has pitted and gone onto the yellow walled tyres, and that is going to be another position for Mike Bell, who has actually just been lapped by one Giuseppe Ranieri, who is just about to start his 32nd lap, and is eking ever closely to ending this race.
Koivunen comes out ahead of Bell.
He does indeed. So
that's a great stop from Koivunen. Tumala was ahead of him.
Yeah. It must have been one excellent in-lap.
Brilliant. Really good driving from Koivunen, must be said.
Indeed.
And so we can see where Mike Bell probably would have fitted in. So maybe not the heights of 7th or 8th.
Well, there's still quite a lot of other people.
9th, oh, hello.
Oh, actually, yeah, hang on.
Dukas and De Vries have both pitted at the same time.
And Sukas has gone out onto the yellow wall tyres, as have Sven de Vries. So
there's no glitch in the system, that's for sure.
Yeah, that is for sure. Kenny Lee Bear, though, who could have been that high. Not. With considering he's gone red.
Well, look at it this way. I'm not sure whether he would have been battling, actually. Yep, he would have been cleanly ahead of Cantonen and Clont as well at this rate. So much potential. What a great start from Kenny Lee Bear, only to be let down by strategy. And that's why you need to practice your races, people.
Unless you're driving in Formula Champs, then you just need to do some laps, because we don't have strategy, because we're just that hardcore.
No, you need to practice, because I fell off the track. Right, apologies for the very, very long silence there. We've been listening to a little explanation from cameraman Dave Carr Smith, who's got a little bit of a theory here. And he suggests that he saw how slow Hardwick was on the prime tyres and thinks that he would get more benefit from going round on the soft tyres again and then pitting again to the hard tyre to make it a 3-stop.
Yeah.
Then go on to the hard tyre tall.
Now, I'm just going to say one thing, that if that is the case, that Kenny Liebert noticed that whilst driving around a track at ridiculous speed, he picked up that Oscar Hardwick was struggling on the yellow wall tyres and said that he was going to change his strategy live whilst on the move. That is just incredible.
You know, I'll say this much though. I will only be impressed if it works out for him. If he... right, Ranieri is into the pits along with Patrick Gayward. Yep. So Patrick Gayward leaves, lapping himself in the process. And I think that Ranieri might very well come out ahead of Cantonen here. Such is his advantage. Onto the yellow wall tyres goes...
No, here comes Cantonen.
Giuseppe Ranieri. Here comes Cantonen.
Cantonen was really pushing. I mean, he was grinding up along the wall on the left-hand side as he was coming down the pit straight.
Cantonen's had some flying laps. I mean, the gap between himself and Klont has absolutely flown away, and I think that Klont could play a pivotal role in this now, because if he's going fast still and can catch up to... I mean, if the prime tyres are as bad as everyone says they are, or if Liebert is right on this, and he thinks that it's better off to be on the soft tyres and go for a very short stint on the hard tyres...
Unless it was a mistake on Liebert's part.
Unless it was, I mean...
Because, I'm just going to point out that we had two people making a similar mistake at the same time.
I still think that's the worst idea, though, because would you realistically lose 20 seconds or
exactly.
more
If there is 20 seconds to be gained in it, then fine. Now, I don't think there was.
No.
Really. But, I mean, if it was a longer race, maybe it would have played out, but even then I don't think so. I think it was possibly more of a strategy mistake on the part of Liebert. But down into P9 we have Koivunen
Mike Bell's got past
right onto
Koivunen.
the back of Koivunen. Yeah, that is the case. Yeah, Bell's gone past. So interesting. So Bell is showing some good pace at the moment. He's actually in top 10, which is maybe where he would have been. I mean, if there is this much of a difference between the yellow walled and the red walled tyres, then maybe Bell wouldn't have been here, but nevertheless Hardwick has pitted and jumps himself onto some more reds, some fresh rubber, as it would be for the last 13 laps of the race.
Chris Waters comes in as well, and we look to Mikko Sukas, who I believe will easily overtake Hardwick. Indeed, he does.
He does.
Sven de Vries as well, I believe, will overtake Hardwick. We look to Mark Wicks now, and he's a bit too far behind to do anything.
Always pitted.
And in fact, he pits as well.
That did not play out well for Oscar Hardwick.
No, not really.
He's dropped back just behind someone who he really dislikes.
Many say that the most important part of a race is the start. And I get the idea
I'd say
of
strategy.
starting... Well, I'm saying some people. I'm taking one theory here.
It's fine.
And I get why some people would start on the harder tyre, but if there is such a gap in performance between the prime and the option tyre, as we are supposedly seeing here at Indianapolis, then I don't see where the risk is, to be brutally honest.
Cannon's pit.
Cantonen pits, and Ranieri goes through into the lead once again. Klont goes through into P2.
Klont hasn't pitted yet, though.
Yeah, Klont needs to pit one more time for the harder tyres, and Cantonen comes out behind Kenny Liebert. But
Kenny Liebert needs to pit again. So Cantonen's looking for a good, strong second place again. So Vodball once again picking out their damn good drivers.
Yeah, Sukas miles behind, it must be said. And Cantonen, well, he failed, well, by his high standards quite miserably in the Formula Challenge round just last night. And as it seems to be the case with a lot of drivers here in GPWC, the supercar really showing the true potential of Cantonen.
Yeah, I mean, he's shown true potential in Formula Challenge as well. I mean, I need to get onto the, go Skype Michael Pittman and see if he's got any other drivers that's sort of sitting around that's this good. Because, I want to drive it this good. Jeez, I'm not that good. I will point that out. I want a teammate who is, who can give me some good setups. But Cantonen is, he's proven himself in Formula Challenge that he's a very, very good driver, and Andreas Portas is off.
Oh dear. Oh, he's lost a wheel as well. Goodness me. Let me just see if I can see what happened to him there. Oh, it happened a while back. Goodness me.
All right, well, we're getting the rewound replay on your screens at the moment. So he's heading into this this double hairpinny section. He's just lost the rear end under traction, has gone straight into the wall, and then tried. Oh, he's heading back to the pit lane. He's actually in the pit lane, so he may be able to rescue this one.
Interesting. Kenny Libert is in for the yellow. Look how close behind Menno Clonti is.
Yeah, interesting.
Sorry, Miko Sukas has to pit again, doesn't he?
No.
No, he doesn't. Is he on the hard tyres?
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, yeah.
So, Canton up into P2. Sukas once again onto the podium. Good strategy from the Enervision boys. De Vries, does he have to pit again? He doesn't, so he's up to P4. So De Vries and Sukas have jumped Menno Clont, who's really lost out in his middle stint, though he is now on the fresher tyres and might be able to attack De Vries. That's the podium slipping away from him. Kenny Libert still in 6th. So I'm pretty sure that he could have, well, let's see, plus 20 seconds. I mean, yeah, he would have been ahead of Cantonen for sure by about 5 seconds or so. But
all right, well, now Oscar's got to get to work really, because he's on the Red Bull tyres. He's the highest up with the Red Bull tyres, joined alongside, well, behind him by quite a way is Mike Bell.
9 laps to go,
Red Bull tyres. And 9 laps to go. Can he catch up? Just score some more points. That's what he needs to do, just score some more points, help CSG a little bit, but it's not been Oscar's day, unfortunately.
yeah, he's...
Oh, yes. Yeah.
We'll have to see what Oscar Hardwick can do. He is actually catching on the leader. I have just noticed that out of the corner of my eye. The gap was 36 seconds over the last sector. Yes, it is indeed. But whether he can... And oh no!
But Morten Wernersen is... Sorry, I've just really clunked my mic there, but Morten Wernersen is unfortunately out of the race.
Let's see what happened to him. I'm looking at him now. And oh, he just lit up his tyres heading into Sector 2. And he's just called it a day after that, unfortunately. So, real shame for Morten Wernersen. But looking at P4 now, Menno Clont is actually past Ben de Vries. We missed it. But yeah, Menno Clont, I believe that was on the straight. No, oh wow, he was ahead before even the straight. So, Menno Clont through on P4. And only 2 seconds behind Sukas, who is on older tyres.
Yeah, indeed. Clont there going to hopefully close into the back of those. Closing on to the back of those, though, is obviously Oscar Hardwick on his Red Bull tyres. Also, I have noticed that Andreas Waters is actually back out on track. He's fixed his car to a point. Although it seems like on my screen at the moment, his front left tyre hasn't actually got any suspension. It is just floating there. That's a graphical glitch.
I'm sure that is your graphical... Oh, actually, no, you're absolutely right.
He has no front left suspension. I'm
also,
sure that's fun to drive.
What surprised me is that he lost his front left. They've gaffer taped his wheel on. I'm certain of it.
They've gaffer taped it with invisible gaffer tape.
Absolutely.
Well, that's just amusing.
That's brilliant. I love that. Look at Sven de Vries, though. Still on the back of Menno Clont here for P4 and 5. Yeah, I think he's just about alright, though. Canton losing time to the leader. I was seeing...
Expected.
Oh, hello. Oh, we got rain. We got rain. We do. And
Mike Bell. Oh, if this rain's heavy enough, this is going to get really interesting. I do see a little bit of rain. It's just spots at the moment, but it can get heavier. We've not got very long left in this race. About 8 laps left.
Here goes Sven de Vries up the inside of Menno Clont. Or is he? No, his gearing is not good enough. Simply put, and this, I tell you what, Lewis, this is going to play massively into the hands of those with fresher tyres, the likes of Oscar Hardwick, Kenny Libert, Mike Bell when he does pit, Menno Clont. All those people are on fresh, prime or soft tyres.
It is going up. It is going up. We're at 8% currently. It's been going up pretty consistently. I'm going to keep my eye on it. I don't think it's going to get to the point where we're going to need a crossover, though, because it's not going up fast enough for that. It's now at 9%.
Oh, a of a moment from Menno Klont there, as he had a little bit of a wiggle, and Sven de Vries is going to be on the outside. Menno Klont basically forced him out. Can Sven de Vries do it around the outside though? Nice move from Sven de Vries. The American moves himself up into P4. Once again, clearly a master of these conditions. I'm trying to think who was a master of these conditions. Well, Rainieri by the looks of it, and he is skidding around a bit, isn't he? Cantonen's fallen a further 10th behind the Italian. Whereas Oscar Harwick's fallen behind a second though. So I think Oscar Harwick's actually falling behind. What about Sukas? Sukas crosses the line and he is roughly about the same. And oh my word, look at this! Klont and de Vries side by side yet again, but look at Klont's gear. I mean, Klont has got the straight line speed as all. Sven de Vries dives to the inside. Can Klont hold it around the outside? Yes, he can. Good defending from the Dutchman.
We are at 12% now. It's going up again. Sven de Vries getting up on the inside of that corner right there. I'm just going to check which one it is. Turn 4. Turn 4.
Again, a decisive move from Sven de Vries. We saw him perform a similar move earlier in the race. Back up to P4, and the rain is going up and up. As I say, well, as we said at the very beginning of this broadcast during qualifying, the crossover point, we believe, is around 20%. And we're on lap 41 and 47 here. The question is, can the rain reach 20%?
No.
In a short amount of time?
It's gone down to 30. It just hit 14%. It's gone. Okay, right. It's what happened. It went up to 14%. It's dropped down to 13%. It's got up to 14%. It's now at 15%. And Oscar is sliding around a lot.
This is going to be interesting.
Here we go then. Liebert's pitted. Liebert is in the pits.
Right, well, he had to pit, didn't he?
Yeah. No. No, he's on the yellow wall tyres.
Okay. This is interesting. Has Liebert thrown away...
16%.
It has Liebert thrown...
He's on the wet.
He is on the wet tyres. Liebert has called it. This is a big call for the Belgium.
Look at Klont and Sven de Vries. They're getting close again. Oscar Harwick's going to start cruising onto the back of these two right now. It's gone down a little bit again. It's now 15 to 16.
This is a big call from Liebert. He might have just thrown away a very good position if the rain doesn't increase. This is going to be huge for the race result here. And Sven de Vries still manages to hold off Menno Klont. I think that battle is said and done now. Rainieri goes round again. Clearly he doesn't need to pit.
Yeah, so I'm just saying that Mike Bell needs to pit anyway.
Yes, he does.
So what's going to happen to Mike Bell? I don't think it's going to...
I think he's going to wait until the last lap or as late as he can get it.
I think he's going to wait as well.
He made it to half distance on the red tyre.
It's hovering around the 16 to 15% mark.
That's intermediate weather. That's not wet.
That's not wet, that's not dry, but I think it's more going to play into the hands of the people on the slicks as opposed to the people on the wet. So I don't think it's going to play into the hands of Liebert at all.
Just look how look how much he's struggling. All right, people. Once again, is go Menno. Oh, look at this. It's basically the same story over and over again. Menno Klont is Sven de Vries is going to try and defend around the outside. Good move from de Vries, able to hold off Menno Klont this time. And he will stay ahead in P4, and that is where Menno Klont was getting him last time. Here comes Oscar Hardwick. He's onto the back of Menno Klont. And, oh, dearie me. I think, well, Menno Klont has really lost out in this race. Was looking at a podium position, potentially. Now he is beginning to lose to Oscar Hardwick on those new red tyres.
By the way, it's been like it for a little bit now. 17%.
17%.
At this rate, it will be at about 20% on the last lap. This could play into Liebert, maybe moving up a few positions at the end. Oscar Hardwick, though, right in the back of Menno Klont. Oh, God. It's gone down to 16%, but I just have to keep an eye on that. It's still tricky conditions at the moment.
Edging ever nearer to the crossover point is the weather. And well, I'm sure Mike Pittman is here with us in spirit. It's usually his presence which brings down the rain. And here goes Oscar Hardwick then, up the inside of Menno Klont, and that was decisive. Straight through before he even hit the straight, though. Menno Klont has had very good gearing to get past Sven de Vries, and there is Sven de Vries actually. Oscar Hardwick, though, looks to have that position Nicely done from Oscar Hardwick, and now he's going to try and get onto the back of Sven de Vries, the American.
All right, it went down a bit. It's back up to 17%. Kenny Liebert isn't pitting. I think it's not too far away from it. I think he can stay out and keep doing it. Carapino is in on the wets. So is Chumala. I'm just actually going to have a flick through the grid now and just tell you who's on what. Who's on the wets, actually. So we obviously have Liebert. Mike Bell's entered the pits. I'll go back to that in a minute. So Chumala. I don't think anyone else. Oh, no, sorry. Herms are right at the back. And that is it. So you've got 4 people on the wet tyres now. Mike Bell is just entering his pit stop. He needs to brake really early because
Gatewood's in.
Okay, right. Mike Bell is onto the wets now. He's onto the wets, which is fine. That works well into a strategy. Gatewood will be going onto the wets as well.
Yep.
And the wetness is 21%.
Okay, we are now in wet territory. And Giuseppe Ranieri, let's look to him now. He is just about ready to... Oh no, he's on a new lap.
He's on a new lap.
Plant pits.
Oh,
okay.
This is getting exciting.
This is exciting now. We are on the onto the wet tyres now.
Hardwick Vries.
He passes de Vries with quite some neat efficiency there. Up into the podium is Oscar Hardwick.
Sukas pits. Also,
pits.
Klont missed his box. He went too deep.
Oh no, it's falling apart at the seams of Menno Klont.
Liebert is going to get past. Or where's Liebert going to get past? Is Liebert going to get past both of them?
Liebert, I think he'll come out ahead of
25%.
Klont just about. 25%. Liebert is ahead of Klont. Can you get past
26%.
Sukas? It's going up. This is absolutely what an end to this race. And Liebert is past both Sukas and Klont. He is now up into P5. And where is Ranieri? Ranieri does
staying
not
out.
hit.
He's staying out.
You utter madman. He's got rain in his name.
Top 3 won't pit, apparently. Yeah, okay, no, I'll agree with that.
This is going to be edgy moments for Giuseppe Ranieri in these final. We are on lap 46 of 47 here at Indianapolis. The question is, can
Canton's in the pits. Canton is in the pits as well. So where's Liebert going to be? If Ranieri, Hardwick or de Vries make a mistake now, this will play into the hands of someone like Canton, someone like Liebert.
De Vries and Hardwick go past, and I think Canton's just thrown this away. I think he's just thrown a... Let's have a look here. Ranieri. Where is Ranieri? I think, as I say, he's got rain in his name. Canton, and then is
going to be in
demoted.
fourth. He's going to be in fourth, but he's on the wets, which could potentially be better in these conditions. It's 24-25%, so it's about the crossover point. This could work out for Canton.
Look at Kenny Liebert. He's just about defending off Miko Sukas. He's had a real charge on these wet tyres. Look at the speed that he carries now as we head onto lap 46 with the Belgian and the Finn now. Heading down to turn 1. Kenny Liebert on the inside. Miko Sukas is going to try around the outside, and Miko Sukas runs out a bit wide there. And what was that?
Cantonen. Look at how close he's getting to the back of de Vries and Hardwick.
Oh, indeed. Indeed. And where is Ranieri? Ranieri's going to go round again.
Staying out again. Okay, yep, this is expected.
Well, this is one lap. What will happen now? This is some end to the race as Ranieri goes on to the final lap of this race. Hardwick and Sven de Vries are really struggling now. Look at Canton.
Oh, here we go.
Look at the grip on that car. Canton back up into the podium, and I imagine Hardwick will very quickly follow suit. Giuseppe Ranieri, look at the gap though he's got to Oscar Hardwick, 34 seconds. He can essentially cruise around with this rate.
Look how slowly Giuseppe's going in comparison.
3 seconds slower the lap. Oh wow! But I think this is the.
Oh, Hardwick's gone deep.
Oh, dearie me, and Cantonen clean around the outside. Cantonen back up into P2, and that's worked out well for Canton. I thought he'd throw that away. Commentator, wow! Oscar Hardwick gets it a bit fuzzy, and
it's gone up in wetness. It's now at 25%. It did drop to about 22%.
But Giuseppe Ranieri's nearly there. Giuseppe Ranieri's got one major corner left to traverse, and then he can power it round. Yep, he can. He is safe and dry, ironically now, is Ranieri, and he's going to round the massive final corner here at Indianapolis. It's his 7th race win in a row Giuseppe Ranieri won't take the lead of the championship this round, but he does take the win.
De Vries has passed
And De Vries has
Hardwick.
passed Hardwick. De Vries has passed Hardwick. This is huge for the championship. Hardwick losing at the... Let's see.
He's going to come down to the line.
Right, Canton is going to be clearly second. He's got the wet tyres on, but he'll be right down to the line. And oh, a bit of a slippery moment for De Vries. Look how slippery these conditions are for these drivers on the slicks. Hardwick is going to go to the outside. De Vries to the inside. He goes to the middle of the track now. Hardwick going to try clean around the outside. It's going to be a race to the line. Hardwick on the outside. De Vries on the inside, and Hardwick pulls in now. It's going to go first to the line. It's going to be so close.
Oh, it was so
De
close.
Vries.
De Vries got it.
Wow, by, what was it in the end, 13 thousandths of a second. Sven De Vries takes his first, or was it his first podium? Either way. Satellite, oh, look at P6 in Kenny Liebert.
Oh.
Just about beats home Miko Sukas. 7 thousandths of a second between those two. Goodness me, that was close. Menno Klont home in P7, Mark Richter
Mike
P8.
Bell.
Mike Bell home in P9.
Good boy.
And you know what happened there? He used red, and then was able to go onto the wets at the end.
So
What?
that worked out better for
perfectly.
Mike Bell than we thought.
That worked out perfectly for Michael. Tommy Koivunen, P10. Mikael Tumala, P11. Patrick Gateway, P12. Agustin Canapino, quite disappointing to be brutally honest, but he got points in his debut anyway. Christoph Lichtenstein once again in the points, and Scott Bennett takes our final point of the evening with Martin Bolgi in P16, Calvin Hermser P17, and Andreas Waters, our final finisher there in P18 for Fox Racing. But what a final few laps that was. That, out of all the races of domination we have seen from Ranieri, that has been my absolute favourite.
Well, Canton's saying he shouldn't have pitted for wets. I'd completely argue with that.
No, I'd agree. I'd completely agree with you on that one, because he still got
pitting
second.
onto the wets was possibly the best call because you had Oscar climbing into the back of them quite closely. So I think it was a great call. I think it was a great call.
That was a brilliant call. Yeah. Kenny Liebert saying wet tyres were horrible. Well, they were horrible because you went onto them too early, Kenny.
Yeah, that was true, but it paid out. Okay, where did Kenny finish? Kenny finished in fifth, so it kind of worked out. Okay, okay, he was up in second, but that was the red that we weren't really sure was too good, but it kind of worked out. He was up in fifth, so good stuff from him. But for what was, to be brutally honest, I wouldn't say a boring race, but for the lead was a boring race, really, but.
It was actually a very exciting race.
You couldn't have had a more exciting finish throughout the grid. That was excellent. That was absolutely superb from some of the driving out there. It was just brilliant. The weather, though, thank you for playing such a key part in that. That is why I love doing some commentary sometimes, because you just don't know what's going to happen next.
And Satellite Racing, have they found, finally, their replacement for Ryan Walker, their first podium since Turkey 5 races ago? It
was top 10 for Centurion as well. They got into the top 10.
Double, very, very consistent finish from Centurion, I believe. They've actually they've bettered their result from last race out by 1 point. So Centurion doing great there. But we now have a couple of interviewees, the first of which, Oscar Hardwick. You do not lose your championship lead today, but that was one hell of a race from your perspective, I imagine.
It's one word for it. It's fair to say that I went the wrong way with setup and the wrong way with strategy, and I didn't do myself any favours in that race. Had I actually started on the option, maybe I would have been a bit further up and keeping with everyone. The rain seemed like a godsend, but I'd already done enough bad things with the tyres, so I had 1 bar left coming up onto the last 2 laps on my front left, and the thing was just near and on undrivable. It wouldn't slow down, and then on the power it was... couldn't get it together at all. As much as we've had our differences, it's fair to say when me and Sven battled on track today once or twice, it was good stuff, and he was fair going to the line. I only didn't go to the bottom because if I'd gone down to the bottom, I'm pretty sure my car would have spun out. It nearly span coming out the final corner, going onto the oval. So I had to run it high and put as much load into the tyres as I could. And I don't know. Entertaining finish for everyone, but I'm massively disappointed.
I'd quite imagine for Abu Dhabi would quite like Giuseppe Ranieri to suffer a tyre blowout like Sebastian Vettel did a couple of years ago, sort of ruling himself out of the race um, early doors. Because to be quite frank, we've seen you make these steps towards Ranieri, and you've done so well to at least try and catch up with him. But do you think it's going to be down to more luck than anything else for you to be able to at least try and hold on to the championship lead now?
Of course, it's luck. I mean, you can look at this whichever way you want. I mean, Supercup is a spec series. We all have the same car, which makes it appear, at least on the exterior, that Giuseppe's 5/6 that he's got in qualifying and every single lap of the race is very impressive. But when it comes down to it, I mean, I've been doing Super League a bit recently as a reserve, and you qualify 8th, and at that point, I'm 6/10, 5/10, 6/10 at max off of pole. And that's with a bunch of drivers that have proven they can be as quick as him. So he's obviously just got such a leap in setup compared to everyone else, including me. I mean, he didn't have that leap earlier in the season, and we're the same pace. And he's found something no one else has got. There's obviously some sort of loophole or something within the settings that we need to find if we're to even bother challenging him. I could do thousands and thousands of laps of practice, and I still wouldn't be there. So I'll give it my best shot, but the championship's as good as gone. I just hope. I guess that's one upside, isn't it? Miko finished behind me today, so I think maybe, just maybe, we still got 1 or 2 points on Innovision, but that one's still not settled just yet.
Absolutely. It's good to at least take some positives out from the race, and we certainly hope to see what you can bring to the table next week, Abu Dhabi. Thank you for joining us anyway.
Thank you.
We now move to David Junt, team principal of Scuderia Basilia. Ranieri's won again, able to master conditions near the end, pole position by a large amount. Anything else that you can add to this? It's becoming a very repetitive interview with you every week now.
I admit so. I'm really running out of things to say, but well, at the start of qualifying, I thought, well, he's not that far away, but then he cruised away again. I don't know. He's a talented one. Even showed that then later in the race, because I got really worried when it started to rain in. I thought, okay, bit of rain, and then it started to go up and again, and I thought, maybe just warn him that some 18 seconds clearly he should take it easy, but I didn't really need to worry. He had this under control. Just driving it home. Yeah.
Perhaps we could maybe look to what the consequences of the year turning over will be. It's pretty much expected throughout the paddock that Ranieri will make the jump to Super League. From your perspective as a team owner, are there people catching your eye now as to who you might want to replace Ranieri with? I mean, as nothing's confirmed just yet, but I think it's pretty much 90% certainty now that you will have to find someone to fill that lead seat at Scuderia Basilia.
Yeah, I don't believe on keeping Giuseppe here, and I really do think he should go up and show his talent up in Super League, because we've seen in the one race he did in Monza, he was on the edge of winning against, I think, Euler, and well, that just shows he needs to be there. He needs to show his talent there, and so well, I'm really thinking about next year already, but as nothing is certain, not even teams or something like that, I'll just have to see what I can do if I can bring in someone. But I really struggle to think that I can weather this result we have right now at the moment, or what it could be in the end. So I don't know if we can even get close to this year right now, as it had happened now. So I'll see what driver I could get, but I don't know yet. I know if you guys or know someone who would like to drive or have in a team, but we might not be interested. But it's just rumors. We'll see what happens in the future.
Right, well, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us. David, another dominant win for Scuderia Basilia there. We now move to Sven de Vries, Satellite's first podium since the Istanbul race. Your team must be really happy with that. Are you locked in that seat now until the end of the year? You know, are you the much-needed replacement for Ryan Walker that the team's been looking for?
Thanks. Yeah, I will be driving for Satellite Racing the rest of the season, so that's good. But man, it was one hell of a race, definitely one hell of a finish.
Telling us we were on the edge of our seats watching you battle with Hardwick. Both of you decide to stay out on the slick tyres in what was absolutely wet tyre conditions. How tricky was that as a driver? Because not many people have or really go to that extremes, you know, to stay out. You know, they've got 3 laps left. They really must stay on the soft tyres. How hard is it as a driver to wrestle the car around in those conditions? I mean, I think it's quite evident from the broadcast that it's not really that easy.
It's very, very tricky. You really have to change your driving style, your lines, your braking points, and you have to be very careful. But I think me and Oscar both are kind of drivers that are not satisfied unless we win or at least get a podium. So I think we're both out for a little bit of a gamble. Since if we would have gone for wet tires, we'd have probably come home in 5th or 6th. And now we had a shot at a podium, and one of us ended there. I think the difference was 12 thousandths of a second in the end.
Yeah. Well, if you can provide this much exciting racing until the end of the season and even try and challenge Giuseppe Ranieri possibly, I think you will be a very valuable addition to the Super Cup once again, and we look forward to seeing you next time at Abu Dhabi then.
Yeah, hopefully I start a little bit more at the front. Coming from P19, sure it wasn't the easiest.
That's absolutely that's a very good point to remember actually. Well, thank you very much, Sven, and we will see you next time. And we then end with Mike Bell. And well, Mike was a very interesting story throughout the race. Qualified well again, starting P13 again for the second race in a row. Went red. Now, first of all, we got to clarify: was the red a mistake on your part?
Initially, yes, and then as I was on my second stint, I was doing the maths and worked out I wouldn't really lose any extra time. So I thought, I'll go with it, I'll see what happens. And the rain came at just the right time. I mean, I had to pit within 2 or 3 laps of the rain starting. And I thought, I'll hold out for one more just to see what the percentage will be. And literally, we were coming out of the final corner and the percentage shot up. And I was already going to pit on that lap, so I thought, why not? I'd switch to the wets, and it worked out. So I kind of pulled something out there.
It really was. It really did fall perfectly for you, and your first points in Super Cup, not even just small points. A top 10. I mean,
well, that's beat 90% of my Formula Challenge results.
Yeah, it's really good. You just seem much more at home in these cars. I mean, we've seen you move from F8 to Target. I'll ask you the same question that I asked Sven. Are you locked in that Target seat until the end of the season, or was this just a sort of one-off thing?
I've got a reserve drive with Target until the end of the season, but because I'm doing Formula Challenge as well, I can only do 2 more races, so I'm going to have to miss one of the next 3.
Any ideas which one?
Nope. I'm probably, if I know Petter signed Augustin as a full-time driver, I believe, from today. So if him and Wyatt Gooden show up, then I won't be able to drive. So I'll probably just drive the next 2 and sit out the last one, unless they both show up for the same race. In which case, that'd be a pretty good team.
It would be indeed. The question is whether they will turn up, Mike, and we certainly hope to see you at a couple more rounds then if you do have those 2 in your contract. And I think it'll be very interesting to see what happens with some of these FC guys for next year, Lewis. So we're seeing more and more of them sort of come up via reserve drives like Cantonen, like Tapper, like Bell, and they're actually doing pretty well. They're really making good names themselves. And although it might look like this season is sort of dead to many people in terms of how the championships are going, I think there's certainly a lot to look forward to next season at least.
Yeah, I think we've discussed that as well at length beforehand, that the Super League looks really good for next year, the Supercup looks really good for next year, and the Formula Challenge just looks really good for next year, provided things change in the way that we think they will. The drivers moving up and moving around as they should. We could have an extremely good 2014. But for championship standings wise, you kind of get the feeling that when it comes to drivers, that this season's pretty much over in Super Cup, which is a shame because it was looking so good only a few rounds ago. But that's just a situation that we are currently in, and there's only 3 rounds left to go. Obviously the next one, Abu Dhabi in 2 weeks' time, and hopefully that'll be interesting. We always like a bit of Abu Dhabi racing. It was just a bit of an odd track, that one.
Certainly is, and hopefully he'll throw up an odd result as well. You never really can tell. Just Abu Dhabi, Japan, and Brazil to go here in the Super Cup season. You can catch us in 2 weeks' time at Abu Dhabi. It's one of my personal favourite tracks of the season, and I hope it'll be yours too for many, many more reasons to come. From myself, James Kirk, Lewis McGlade, and cameraman Dave Carr-Smith, then, Nightis, a very warm goodbye.